of the Wether class. Wether.
Banana cream.
Saunders was locally founded in 1972 and is now one of the largest and most stable construction. Test 1 2. Saunders was locally founded in 1972 and is now one of the largest and most stable construction companies in Colorado. Saunders offers well paid positions with opportunities for career growth. Visit us at www.saundersincorporated.com for information on career opportunities. Sullivan Supply is a family owned and operated company founded in 1989. As the innovative leader in livestock show supplies, Sullivan Supply has kept the values of hard work, family ties, and quality products at its core. Sullivan Supply is proud to service the livestock industry and wishes all the exhibitors at the National Western the best of luck. Ready to try a delicious change? Serve your fairly Serve your family American lamb from Superior Farms. There are so many ways to enjoy lamb with the easy recipes at superiorfarms.com. Weaver Livestock is committed to helping you be the very best you can be. Stop by their booth between the Junior Barn and Stadium Arena to check out their full line of show supplies backed by industry experts. Weaver is devoted to fueling your enthusiasm for showing livestock with innovative products here at the National Western Stock Show. The tradition continues with the Colorado Farm Show taking place at Island Grove Park in Greeley, Colorado, January 27th, 28th, and 29th. Approximately 300 ag-related exhibitors, 3 days of seminars, and more. Admission is free, and the $5 parking raises funds to support youth in agriculture through scholarships. Visit us at coloradofarmshow.com.
Testing. As we start off our Market Doe show out here, I want to say thanks to the staff and Jennifer for coming to me and asking me to judge such a prestigious event out here. And we're going to have fun with it. We're going to work our way through these does tonight. We're going to give these kids enough time. I know most of them just got out of the ring from showmanship. But at the same time, we're gonna work our way through them and do it on a pace that needs to be done. I think that in our first class out here, the front side of this class is really, really competitive. We've got 5 nice does. I think the doe you have to land on, she is the complete one out here when we talk about the balance, completeness, the structural correctness, the overall quality when you step off and look at them from the side. Her shoulder blade, her rib shape, her top line, all of that fits in. And where she's better than her second place doe is she's sounder and more flexible in terms of her structure. She has more reach off of her front end. She's got a more correct angle to her joints off of her rear leg, and she too's longer and leveler out of her hip. I love the body type in this one, the young lady that stands in 2. This one is bold, this one is big in her top side, and tremendous when we get right behind her. But as we put her into motion, she wants to be straighter in terms of her blade. She wants to rock forward just a skosh in her knee. But if you talk about true round, stout, good bodied, good livestock, that's still functional in terms of their build, we got to keep that kind up and really appreciate it. A wild looking, neat looking one that winds up here in 3rd. This paint is attractive through her shoulder and through her neck and through her extension. But when you get right up on top of her and you study her in terms of her chest floor and her natural base width, she lacks quite a bit compared to the 2 that stand in front of her. Her hip's good. I'd like to expand her and widen her out underneath from behind there, but an attractive, good looking one from the side here that winds up in 3. Really, really tall shouldered, one that's really elegant up through her neck. You like those things about her. She's big-footed. She's got some bone and some feature to her. But when you put your hands on her, just simply not enough dough there, young lady, in terms of real dimension coming out of the top side of her shoulder. I like her width out of her hip and her pin dimension there. We just need to make that front side of her skeleton rounder and bolder and more dimensional as compared to the ones that stand up there. The spot-topped one here that winds up in 5. Good-looking one, young lady. Really good balance. Really sound enough in terms of her makeup. She, too, just runs out of of gas in terms of natural width and true dimension from front to rear there, but a high quality set of does there that wind up in 5. As we work through over here, a nice set of goes all the way through. Next young lady right there, big bone, sound footed, good made one there. Freshness and appearance just needs to be better. But when we talk about fundamentals, we got to keep that kind of livestock up into the whole mix. Cape shoulder one, long bodied, next pair of them long bodied, pretty made ones. Then we got a real thick one. Then we got a couple more that just needs more dimension. If you would, everybody in the ringside out here, put your hands together and give those young people a big round of applause.
Results of the first class of Wether does. In 10th place, Wyatt Mason. 9th went to Jamie Schaefer. 8th, Madeline Moore. 7th place, Keith Page. 6th place went to Laney Steben. 5th place, Emily Reed. 4th place, Emily Reed. 3rd place, Emily Reed. 2nd, Callie Birdwald. And the winner of the first class of Wether does was Kelsey Heisler. Take your clipping, take your clipping fitting skills to the next level with the Emerge and Pulse ZR2 clippers from Andis. Experience the perfect trifecta of control, power, and efficiency to reach the flawless finishes. Find them at your Andis dealer today. John Deere is the official agricultural and turf equipment provider of the National Western Stock Show. Visit your local John Deere dealer for great deals now. And remember, nothing runs like a deer. Saunders was locally founded in 1972 and is now one of the largest and most stable construction companies in Colorado. Saunders offers well paid positions with opportunities for career growth. Visit us at www.saundersincorporated.com for information on career opportunities. Sullivan Supply is a family owned and operated company founded in 1989. As the innovative leader in livestock show supplies, Sullivan Supply has kept the values of hard work, family ties, and quality products at its core. Sullivan Supply is proud to service the livestock industry and wishes all the exhibitors at the National Western the best of luck.
When we bring the second class out here, man, the heat really comes to life in a hurry. I'm talking to you, we're 7 deep in this class of good livestock, and there's a little bit of different kinds all the way through here. And we've got one that we've got to figure out up here on the front end is the outlier out of it. Her foot, her feature, her bone, her presence is extremely I mean, we put her into motion. She's sound and flexes off of both ends. Her angles are right. Her knee is set in her. She moves in terms of her hock. And when you get your hands on her, this one is opened up on the top side of her skeleton, and she has got plenty enough to her out of it. The question on this one that was in my mind from the start of the beginning is when you turn and let her go away from you, she wants to narrow up at the ground. She needs to have more real dimension to the stifle and the lower part of her leg there, and that would make that one really special. Her feature, her overall build, and her stoutness overall together ties into the right package, and we got to find that one to win. I love the body shape in the one that's in 2. That one is as round and neat in terms of her forerib. Her blade sets in her right. Her neck is up in her. She handles extremely well down her top side. She's long and level out of her hip. She's not as expressive. She's not has as much feature as the one that wins the class there. But her quality, her kind, we still got to keep involved here. She's not as bold in terms of right at the base of her heart as the one that goes out. The one that winds up in 3, this predominantly white doe, is neat to look at. Her rib shape's laid in her. Her knee and her shoulder blade is extremely good. She doesn't hold herself together as well in terms of her balance. She's not as expressive coming out of the top side of her shoulder there. She runs out of gas in terms of real dimension of loin compared to the 2 that stand up in front of her. I'd like to make her flex just a little bit better off of her rear too when we put her in on the go. The one that winds up here in 4 is neat to look at from the side. Her handle qualities is extremely good. Her blade, her forerib, all of those pieces tie together. But as we back off and look at her, not as much goat there as the ones that stand in front. She's a little narrow in terms of her loin, wants to pinch just a little bit, gets a little shorter out of her hip, ever so slightly, being critical of that one, wants to post up just a nickel in terms of her hock. The one that winds up in 5, she is an exciting one to look at from the side. Boy, her neck is laid in her right, her shoulder blade, her feature is extremely good, her balance and her elegance is par. I mean, spot on there. But when we really get to studying this one, she's the flattest in terms of her forerib from the right at the top of her shoulder all the way to the base of her forerib compared to the rest of them. As we put her into motion, she just stays really true in terms of her symmetry, but she needs to be bigger in terms of her hip, needs more power when we get right behind her. But if you like them crazy, good looking, super well balanced, that one fits into the equation. Another neat one here that you talk about, one that just looks like gets outweighed and outpounded here. The one that winds up in 6 is extremely good looking from the side. Her handle qualities is good. Doesn't hold herself as well in terms of her top line. Not as big and bold coming out of the top of her shoulder. Not as stout in terms of her feature, in terms of foot and forearm and bone. Red-necked one there is really a big-backed one there that's lean and shapely. Not as good out of her pins, wants to get a little uncollected off of her rear leg. And as we work our way down through the class, we got a really nice set of goats and a great set of individuals there. Just kind of hit in a water moccasin class out here. Put your hands together. Give them a big round of applause if you would.
Results of Class 2 of the Wether Does. In 10th place, Dakota Allen Smith. 9th place went to Emily Adams. 8th, Cody McComb. 7th place, Avery Boyer. Avery Boyer. 6th place, Dayton Morvet. 5th place, Colton Kohler. 4th place went to Caitlin Morgan. 3rd went to Dally Treadwell. Second place went to Phelan Thomas, and the winner of class number 2 was Kinley Hofschulte. Entering the ring is class number 3. Class 3 entering the ring. Upon completion of this class, we will have the champion drive for Division 1. Superior Farms is committed to the care of the flock. Our employee owners believe good things come from putting the flock first. Get the story at superiorfarms.com. Weaver Livestock is committed to helping you be the very best you can be. Stop by their booth between the Junior Barn and Stadium Arena to check out their full line of show supplies backed by industry experts. Weaver is devoted to fueling your enthusiasm for showing livestock with innovative products here at the National Western Stock Show. The tradition continues with the Colorado Farm Show taking place at Island Grove Park in Greeley, Colorado, January 27th, 28th, and 29th. Approximately 300 ag-related exhibitors, 3 days of seminars, and more. Admission is free, and the $5 parking raises funds to support youth in agriculture through scholarships. Visit us at coloradofarmshow.com.
another heater of a class out here, and I mean we're good. These front five on this side, I mean you can kind of pick your poison how you want to do it out here, and you can scramble and shake these up a few different ways. But this one is the one that hits me the hardest. She is the good balanced one of the class that all the pieces and parts tie together. Her shoulder blade, her forerib, her extension, all of it ties together. Her angle from the point of her shoulder through her forearm to her knee, and when we put her into motion, she's the most collected one. She's long in terms of her spine. She's good out of her hip. She's the truest off of her rear too of any of them. Then you put muscle and all the characteristics in terms of real density and dimension in a good looking, smooth shouldered package there. I think that one wins and wins pretty handily. The 1 and 2 is an exotic one when we look at her in terms of muscle. She is tremendously big in terms of her top side. She is big and wide in terms of her pins. We get more critical of her in terms of her motion. She's straighter in terms of her blade. She's straighter in terms from the point of her shoulder all the way to her hoof line. Her body turn is good and her muscles right. She wants to close up when we get right behind her. She's not as elegant through her shoulder and through her neck as the one that beat her in class. I think it was close between 2 and 3 out here, and the difference out of it is 2 is wider in terms of her skeleton. She's got more dimension in terms of her base. She's got more power and dimension from hooks to pins to the base of her stifle. But I love the look of that one there, young lady. When that one is propped up just like that from the side, her neck's right, her body's right. She doesn't have the same turn to her top line as the 2 that stand in front of them, but a really, really high quality one that just closes up off of both ends really bad, and we need to spread that out. Young lady in the green right here, your doe just acted like she was dumb today, okay? Sorry about that. That doe is built extremely, extremely good. She is one of the bigger bodied ones out here in terms of real dimension. She's got as much expression to her top side in terms of shoulder to her point of her hip there. But as we work her way back, she's the shortest hipped one out of the deal. She's the shortest from flank to flank. I'd like to extend her all the way through, but a big body, good footed one here that deserves to be in the mix. Real good touching one that winds up in next, just simply not as stout in terms of her feature. You talk about handle and real crisp shape to her top line. Needs to be fresher in terms of that. Needs to have just a shot more condition. I'd like to give her a shot of bone when we compare her to the ones that stand in front. As we work our way through, we got over here in this side of the deal. Congratulations, young lady. That is a really well-balanced one. Really sound, functional, good-built one, young lady that's going to make a dang nice production doe. The paint doe is tremendously big in terms of her top side of her skeleton. She is big in terms of her body. Her bottom half doesn't match the top side or the end rear view here compared to the other. But that one has some dimensional look to her. We fix a few areas and that one goes up. And as we work our way down through the class, good quality does that have some balance and some doability in them. Let's put our hands together and give them a big round of applause.
Results of class number 3. In 10th place, Garrett Rubin. 9th went to Brayley Upchurch. 8th place, Cody Dorsey. 7th place went to Casey Quang. 6th, Gracelyn Goff. 5th place went to Phelan Thomas. 4th place, Finley Yoakum. 3rd went to Dakota Allen Smith. 2nd, Rylan Burns. And 1st place went to Bristol Lee. Entering the ring at this time is the first and seconds of class 1, 2, and 3 for division champion. Champion Drive is Division 1 entering the ring at this time. Take your clipping and fitting skills to the next level with the Emerge and Plus ZR2 clippers from Andis. Experience the perfect trifecta of control, power, and efficiency to reach flawless finishes. Find them at your Andis dealer today.
If you would, all the people around ringside, put your hands together and give these kiddos a big round of applause out here. It was fun. The first division, we don't have lots of numbers, but I mean, the quality is extremely good. We got a great set of young people out here working. I'll tell you what I see in this division here, and I think there's a lot of things that I like in these goats here. The body type and just the round dimension and the productional look of real muscle shape and top line and natural base is extremely good in that class 1. She's not as big in terms of her feature as the ones that stand behind her. She's not as true in terms of an angle to the top of her blade to her knee to the ground as the two that stand behind them. But where she's good is her body type is right. Her top line is extremely good and still sound and good in terms of her makeup there. Just like to make some extras there. The one that stood right behind her I thought was really similar to her in type. Not as expressive, not as big in terms of her loin, not as explosive in terms of her muscle as the one that won that class. The one in the middle class, she is the wild beast one out here in terms of just foot size and feature and hair and the things that we call the extras, okay? Her neck set is extremely good when we put her into motion. Her blade set's in her right there. Her top line stays true out of it. And when you get up on top of her and you really start putting it all in your mind there, you think, man, how much goat's really underneath that hair? Then you start questioning some things when we put her into motion because she does close up from her pin bone to her stifle to her hock to the ground when we go away from her, but she's got some wow factor to her. Really nice, good touching one that wind up second in that class in a really tough class that is super jet level in terms of her spine, just not as big in terms of her features, not as good in terms of her structure, gets a little straighter off of both ends compared to the one that won. Then we end with a class here with a pair of does that I thought this one really, really hit me hard in terms of just sound, functional built one there. And then you back off and look at her and boy, all the pieces tie together right in the equation. You put her into motion, man, she reaches and goes. And when you look at the 3/4 look, she is round in terms of her forerib. She is opened up in terms of her chest, and she is big in terms of her dimensions when we work our way from her last rib back there. And we appreciate those things awful well about that one. Another big handling one that wind up in 2 over there, not as sound, not as functional in terms of her build, not as collected in terms of her motion from her knee to the ground or from her hock to the ground when we just take her and put her off on the trot out here, but one that you got to appreciate the boldness that she brings to the table. Wouldn't argue with you. You can do a couple different things out here. The one that hits me hard today, that's a young lady that wins Class 3. She's your champion in D1. We just talked that second place in 2 there, and I mean, I appreciate the muscle and the things that one brings. But now we start putting her out here on the front line, and we start looking and doing the different things that we see in the whole equation out here. There's a lot of product. There's a lot of boldness. There's a lot of dimension there. Structurally, I don't like her way she comes out of her knee to the ground. I don't like the way she goes off of her rear leg and closes out of the deal. And the same thing goes for the one that wins 2 there. She closes up too much for me, but her front end structure, her build, her presence, her stoutness, and her feature, and her neck set, and the length and femininity she has there supersedes the one that winds up 2. Young lady in the pink, I like you second best in D1 today. Congratulations.
That was the champion drive of Division One. I will get those results to you as soon as I get them. Next in the ring is first class, which is class 4 of Division 2. First class, which is class 4 of Division 2, middleweight Wether does. Your champion out of Division 1 is Bristol Lee. Bristol Lee is your champion out of Division 1, and your reserve champion is Kinley Hofschulte. Kinley Hofschulte is a reserve champion out of Division 1.
Nice little class out here to analyze, and the doe that wins this one, I think she does it in a hurry in terms of just sheer quality and elegance that she brings to the table out here. She's still really good in terms of her width. She's tucked up in terms of her chest. Her body lines and her top dimension is good. She is the most dimensional from her hooks to her pins. When you get right behind her, she is wide and big in terms of her stifle, and she hits the ground good enough off of her rear too. Question is this one wants to get a little tilted up in the top of her blade there, wants to rock a little further forward. Doesn't say she's unsound, she just wants to throw them on you out there, but a high quality one that wins this class pretty handily. Love the roundness, love the shape, love the expression and dimension of rack this one has, just in terms of sheer quality, in terms of elegance, in terms of neatness of shoulder and extension through her front end. Can't run with the one that won the class, but we like her being round and bold and sound enough in terms of her build there and big in terms of her hip there. The 1 in 3 is not as good looking, not as shapely, not as big in terms of her center as the one that stands in front of her. But when you put that one into motion, that one holds herself together really well. Her balance still stays true. I'd like to elevate her just a skosh in terms of her pins. I'd like to give her a notch more rear leg bone compared to her front foot and her cannon bone that she brings to the table, but one that just needs to have more elegance to compete up there. The 1 in 4 does have that there in terms of the extra look from the side when we park her, okay? That one's shoulder and neck set is extremely good. Her body shape, her top line, her length, all comes together extremely well. When we put in that one into motion, that one gets the shortest in terms of her step off of both ends. She needs more reach and more angulation in terms of her structure there, make her more flexible, but a good looking one. If you like them standing still, that's kind of how you want to make them built. The 1 in 5 here is a good one in terms of flexibility, young man. That one's feet and legs is impeccable in terms of when we put her into motion. She knows where to pick them up. Her angles and her joints and her top line all stays true in her. She just runs out of gas compared to all of those that stood in front of you. She's not as big and bold in terms of her rack, but a high quality, neat, attractive one from the side. If we could make that one wider, she could be pushed way up the front of the line. Big wide made one here that just doesn't match the bottom half of her skeleton there. Top side's huge. Bottom half needs more real dimension, needs to have a better angle in terms of her blade and shoulder there all the way through. Next one there's a really, you talk about a good handling one, guys. That one handles good. She's dead level in terms of her spine. Just need to make her bigger. And as we work our way, a good looking one that just runs out of gas in terms of real muscle shape and real power, not as correct out of her hip. Red shouldered one touches extremely well, not as stout in terms of her feature and her bone. Another long bodied, good looking one there that is neat to look at from the side. She needs to be bigger and wider in terms of her pins and have more real dimension when we get right behind her, make her a little stouter in terms of her skeleton. Big haired one next is great in terms of body shape. I told that young lady, that one is skinny, young lady. I said that one needs more condition, and we put more condition. I think we make and read that one a little bit different because there's a lot of good there. All the way through, down through there, the next ones are nice kind of goats. Big forearm, good in terms of dimension, not as good in terms of their balance, not as good in terms of their overall build. Put your hands together if you would. Give them a big round of applause.
Results of class number 4. In 10th place, Kenley Ootman. 9th place went to Bailey Bopp. 8th place, Gracelyn Goff. 7th place went to Caden Ootman. 6th place, Tassie Joe Fadley. 5th place went to Brock Morvet. 4th was Ryland Burns. 3rd, Bailey Dorsey. 2nd was Kelsey Heisler. And 1st in class number 4 was Jaylee Sparks. Next in is class number 5. Class number 5 of the Wether Does next in the ring.
Really, really good class out here. And there's one that when she hits the ring, I mean, you talk about one that's three-dimensional. This one is opened up in terms of her chest floor. You get right off in from the side view or into the front. Her chest is tucked up in her extremely well. She is round and she is big coming out of top of her shoulder. She is big and wide in the center part of her rib. She is huge in terms of her loin out of the deal. Big, big. I mean, I could talk for days on this one. This one's a high-quality individual out here. You want to get really critical of this one out here. You'd like to make this one just a skosh taller at the point of her shoulder. You'd like to maybe extend her just a shot out of her neck there. But you talk about one that is wide and big-centered and big-ended and sound as a dollar bill. That one comes together, high-quality individual to win this class. 2 and 3 are close in my mind out of the deal. You got one that's a little stouter and has a little more wow factor from the side over here. Then you got one that's really sound and functional and good in terms of her build. This one is super round in terms of her cage. Her chest floor sets up in her. She outhandles the 1 and 3, bar none, in terms of realness, coming right out the top of her shoulder to the center part of her loin there. She's not as big in terms of her pins. She's not as bold and looks as much. She's got as much muscle, but I think she's more honest in terms of her hip shape. I think she's more honest in terms of a base of her stifle, and I do know she is sounder, and I like the way her shoulder blade sets in her. The white one has some pizzazz about her. I mean, this one is tall-shouldered. This one has got a great big foot on her. She's got a big forearm out of the deal. Young lady, that one comes at you just a little wide and almost turns out way too much for me in terms of her front end structure there. I'd like to make her with more real dimension. When I get right behind her, give her more base and more true pop to her stifle. And if we can do that and make that one sounder, I mean, that one pushes to the front extremely, extremely hard. A long-bodied one. This one here is just as you see is what you get. But if you talk about realness and you get right over the top of that one's got a big turn to her cage, super shallow in terms of her build there, long spine, sound, flexible. Young lady, she just ain't got the feature and the dimensional look as the 3 that stand in front of her, but a good one that winds up in 4. Another one that's really a tall-shouldered one that's got some forearm to her and elegant through her neck. But as we back off and study her, she's the leanest. She's the least descript in terms of her top. She needs more condition and more expansion through her loin. Fix her out of her hip just a skosh, elevate her a notch in terms of her pins, but a nice one that winds up in 5. As we work our way through the class, this is a deep class of good goats that are fundamentally right in terms of their build. Put your hands together. Give them a big round of applause, if you would, please.
Results of class number 5. In 10th place, Tatum Wyckoff. 9th went to Cody McComb. 8th, Henrik Wells. 7th place, Tarina Burwald. 6th went to Emily Adams. 5th, Avery Boyer. 4th place, Harper Hess. 3rd went to Kinley Hofschulte. 2nd, Tassie Joe Fadley. And first in class number 5 was Aiden Rexwinkle. Remember, first and seconds of each of class 4, 5, and 6 will come back in for the champion drive of Division 2.
Man, we got 5 out here that makes you want to work through it and be proud to be part of this goat deal because these 5 are really, really good livestock. And this speckle-eared one up here on the front side, just her density and her feature of her foot size and bone and her ability to open up in terms of a real true big cage to her and tucked up in terms of her chest. She's big in terms of her rack. She's longer hipped, and I think she's a lot more bolder than the one that's in 2. I like the neck set, and I like the trimness of the neck in 2 better than 1. That's where I would change that one just a little bit. But if you talk about one that has real dimensions all the way through, from the top of her skull to the base of her crown, all the way down the backside, and when you get right behind her, congratulations. The one in 2 is really a good looking one. Her shoulder blade set right in her neck is really good. Her forearm and natural shape comes to play. She is not as big in terms of her rack shape. She is not as round in terms of her forerib as the one. She's not as long in terms of her hip. But if you look at one in terms of true body dimensions and quality from nose to tail, that one is a sound, structured, high quality one that we got to find in 2. That black-headed one's got some big, big pieces there. Her foot size is huge. Her forearm's right in her. As we put her into motion, she gets a little longer in terms of her shoulder blade out here. She's not as extended up through her neck. But when you put your hands on her, that one has got a awesome shape to her top side of her skeleton. She runs out of loin compared to the 2 that stand in front of her. I'd like to make her just a skosh bigger in terms of her pins, make her reach and go just a little bit. The one in 4 here, stopping, standing still, or on the motion, you love her. Okay, that one has been clipped well. She's tall-shouldered. She's long-necked. She's tucked up in terms of her chest floor. She's not as real when we get our hands on her coming right out of her shoulder. From shoulder to the start of her hip there needs to be more goat there. But she is a sound, flexible, high-quality one. If I could put the kind of product that them 3 up there in front have in that one, I might work that one all the way to the front. A really good-bodied one here that winds up next. Her bone and her feature is good. Her cage is right. Her neck set lays in her and her top side. She's the heaviest conditioned of the 5 that we have out here. She's the most off in terms of her hip and off of her rear leg as compared to the rest of them in class. As we work right on down through here, we got a great set of kids. We just need more dimension and more realness in these goats and make them a shot better in terms of quality. If you would, put your hands together, give them a big round of applause.
Results of class number 6. In 10th place, Colby Rogers. 9th went to Justin Enfeld. 8th, Keith Page. 7th place, Mesa Arnold. 6th went to Jamie Schaefer. 5th, Riley Howard. 4th place, Dally Treadwell. In 3rd place, J.C. Falkenstein. 2nd went to Finley Yoakum. And 1st in class 6 was Harper Hess. Entering the ring at this time is your champion drive for Division 2. Champion drive for Division 2 entering the ring.
If you would, put your hands together and give these kiddos in the ring. This, you talk about Division II being quality. There's a pile of it out here in the ring at this point in time, and those classes were deep, and these were the ones that I landed on. And as we look at these, man, I like them wide and I like them big in terms of their cage and that three-dimensional look. From the three-quarter angle in terms of chest floor and rib shape and just quality aspects, and then the handling characteristics that they put into play too. And I think these hit it. I mean, you can do a lot of different things out here, and a different person at a different time may do it a little bit different all the way through. And we'll just talk and I'll tell you what I see in the individuals. The one that won this first class in this division is striking. When you put her on the standstill, young lady does an amazing job and has done extremely well in getting that one presented. That one elevates up out of her neck extremely well. She reads good down her top line in terms of levelness, her body type, and through her forerib and flank balances in terms of her proportions and lines there. Where we get a little more critical of that one is when we put that one into motion there. She wants to kick out of her front end. She wants to be a little stilty up in terms of her blade there, but she's still sound enough in terms of her makeup. I'd like to make her a skosh longer hip. I'd like to give her a shot more flex when we get right behind in terms of her hock to the ground and just a skosh more reach. The one that won that middle class there, you talk about fundamentally correct everywhere you could look at that one. That one's 2 inches longer bodied than either one of them that stand on either side and still holds her top line in the right manner. Her rib cage is set up extremely well in her. Her forearm and her shape from the top of her blade to the point of her shoulder to her elbow to the ground, all of that ties together there. You get in front of her chest is tucked in her. You get from the three-quarter, her rib turns up extremely good. And now we start talking about a different advantage in this one is her length of body, her length of loin in terms of that with the dimensional width that she brings is tremendous. She is bar none the biggest and the widest in terms of her loin. She's the bar none the biggest and widest in terms of real pin set with amount of length of hip that she brings. Talked to her in class that we could make her a shot taller at the point of her shoulder there out of it, but that's a high quality one that won that middle. When you talk about stoutness and feature and just the ability to come out in the ring and you say density here, boy, this one has it out of it. Her turn to her cage is big. Her blade sets right in her. She's a little straight in terms of her blade like the one on the other side of her. Wants to get a little bit further in terms of her knee. That's being really, really critical of one out of the deal. But her body depth and her balance and her lines all come together. Her flex and her ability to get around the ring still is tremendously good. Her difference is she's not as big in terms of her loin. She doesn't have as much true squareness and edge to that loin edge. She's not as big and explosive in her pins as either of the ones that stand in front of her. That's how I see these on the front side. The ones over there on that, I thought they represented really, really well in class and stood where they needed to stand and was competitive. Body, build, type, muscle, texture, all of the things that come into play there. Not as much feature, not as much wow factor as the one that beat her in class. The one that winds up in second in that middle one, really a round-bodied one, hard-touching one that's big in terms of her loin, that needed to be a shot better in terms of her pins, not only levelness and squareness out of the deal, but a good, really high-quality one there. Then the one that won second in that heavy class, just fundamentally correct. Really good from her last rib back, really big in terms of her loin and big in terms of her hip. She's flatter in terms of her forerib, not as muscular in terms of her type, coming right out of the top of her blade. If you would, these kids deserve another big round of applause because this is one heck of a set of females out here in this ring.
Champion of Division II goes to Aiden Rexwinkle. Aiden Rexwinkle is champion of Division II. Reserve champion goes to Jaylee Sparks. Jaylee Sparks is your reserve champion, Division II. Entering the ring at this time is first class of heavyweight, Division III. This is class number 8. Excuse me, class number 7. Class number 7. Heavyweight Division III, class number 7, entering the ring. Sorry about that.
First class of heavies out here. The young lady in the orange wins this deal. I mean, you talk about one that is wide and opened up with real dimensions to her, and her shoulder blade still sets in her right as she's getting big in terms of maturity. Her neck and all the angles fit together, and she's just got more product. She's bolder at the ground. She's a bigger turn to the center and lower part of her rib. She is, bar none, way bigger in terms of her loin and real touch to her out here. I think she wins this deal pretty handily. I like the look. I like the elegance of this one's up through her front end. I don't like the amount of fact that she's a little tighter in terms of her forerib, not as honest. That hair blends there. She looks like there's a bunch there, but she is flatter in that one over there. She's not as real in terms of her base when we put her in terms of motion of just natural, true dimensions to her, but a good looking one from the side that gives you a quality look. Real muscular one that winds up next here in terms of this dark-headed one. She is stout in terms of shape and expression there. Just doesn't blend in terms of the right package there. That one's going to make a nice little nanny goat that's going to have a opportunity to make a good Wether for her someday, or whoever owns that one, because her shape is good, her leanness is right, her cage is tucked up. Just when we back off and study the quality of it all, she just doesn't fit all the parts together quite as smooth. She's not as big in terms of her foot and forearm as the two that stand in front. Good looking one that winds up next just simply runs out of gas. She's flatter in terms of her shoulder and flatter in terms of her forerib, especially at one at this size out of the deal. She needs more honest shape coming right out of her shoulder. She needs to be opened up in terms of her heart and her chest floor and make her more collected in terms of her movement when we put her into motion. Long-bodied, good-looking one next, just lean and not enough to her out here compared to the ones that stand in front. Not as much real shape and more turn to her top as those there. And another heavy-boned one here that's sound in terms of her makeup, just not as correct out of her hip and off of her rear leg compared to the other ones. Congratulations to you individuals.
Class 8 entering the ring. Class number 8 is entering the ring at this time. Results for class number 7 of Division 3. In 6th place, Josette McConnell. 5th place went to Henrik Wells. 4th place, Maverick Huff. 3rd went to Caitlin Mecklenburg. 2nd to J.C. Treadwell. And 1st to Piper Unger. 1st and 2nd will come back in for the champion drive of heavyweights.
in our big class out here. We got to start this class with the young lady's dark-necked one here. Just her feature and her presence and her true dimensions all the way through the center part of her. She's bigger up high. She's bigger in terms of coming the dimension out of her shoulder and still proportionally holds it together in the right way. She's got a little more blade in her than what I'd like to see, but this gal's big and older and mature and still been held extremely well. I think that one's got to win pretty handily there. Good looking, tall shouldered one here that's pretty and more elegant in terms of her neck. Not as stout in terms of her feature, not as shapely in terms of real touch and real dimension as the one that wins the class, but a good one that sure fits in the second hole. Tall-shouldered, good-looking one here that just simply at this size and stuff, she doesn't have enough turn for me in terms of her top line coming right out of the top of her shoulder. She's flatter in terms of her forerib there. I like her from her last rib back out of it. Her hip's big and she's got real shape to the base of her leg there, but she wants to get a little shorter and more restricted in terms of her hock when we put her into motion too. Red's a good one, young lady. That for a red one out here, that one's honest. That one has got turn to her cage. She's got some dimension to her top, but as we back off and look at her, she's flatter in terms of her forearms. She's more refined in terms of her foot and her bone compared to the ones that stand in front of her, but I think that one has still a lot of good and a lot of functionality to her all the way through. Then we end with a big-bodied one here that just needs a shot better balance and more natural width. Take some condition off of her and give her more real shape when you get your hands on her. Put your hands together. Give these little ones a big round of applause. Congratulations, young lady.
Results of class number 8. In 5th place, Paisley Bopp. In 4th place, Avery Boyer. 3rd went to Maverick Huff. 2nd, Tassie Joe Fadley. And 1st, Paisley Atkins. Entering the ring at this time is the champion drive of the heavyweight division. Champion drive of the heavyweight division. Upon completion of this class, we will have the grand drive for the Wether Does. Grand drive for the Wether Does next in.
Many numbers in our heavyweight division out here, but the quality's good on the front side there. So put your hands together. Give these young ladies a round of applause out here. The lightweight are the first class in this division here. That one is an awful good, fundamentally correct one out here that's got base, body, and quality and performance. As you talk about her build and you talk about her functionality there, she's awful good and her handling qualities is extremely good. Really, really good looking one that wound up second in that class. It doesn't have as much real shape to her, real dimension to her, not as big and not as powerful to the base of her leg as compared to the one that won there. Then we got her heavyweight out here, big stout featured one that's that gal's been around. You can tell that's going to be a really nice production doe for that young lady somewhere down the line or whoever she belongs to or wherever she ends up, because there's fundamentals that are good there. Her width of skeleton is right, her cage and dimension is good, and she opens up and progressively widens when we get behind her. When she's got her propped up at that motion there, all of her lines stay together, but when we get her into motion there, she wants ever so slightly, young lady, to push out of her shoulder ever a little bit. She wants to protrude just a little bit up there in terms of her breastbone there, and that's a little bit of age and maturity there, but a really, really good breeding piece. One that was second, that's another sound, functional built one out there. that has got body and dimension. She's greener to the touch. She's not as bold as the one that beat her in class. Young lady with a lightweight has your champion in the heavyweight division.
Champion heavyweight is Piper Unger. Piper Unger is your champion heavyweight.
Second place pulls up there, and I thought that was a really, really good pair. You can flip these either way you want to do it, but for Brian Kennedy today, we got a nice set out here, but the one that suits me second best in the heavy division, that's the second place lightweight. Congratulations to you.
And your reserve champion heavyweight goes to J.C. Treadwell.
Same class.
Next in the ring is the Grand Drive. Grand Drive is the next in the ring. Champion in the lightweight is Bristol Lee. Reserve champion, Kinley Hofschulte. Champion in the medium weight was Aiden Rexwinkle, and your reserve champion, Jaylee Sparks. Champion in the heavyweights was Piper Unger, and your reserve champion, J.C. Treadwell. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Grand Drive. This is your Grand Drive.
if you would, put your hands together and give these kiddos out here, the 6 of them that have made it back out here, a big, big round of applause out of it. First of all, like I said earlier, I got the call to come out here and judge National Western. I knew the quality would be really good all the way through from top to bottom. Our numbers isn't real big, but the quality is extremely deep. What's even better is we got a great set of kids from across the country that's coming out here and competing and vying and showing some intensity out here. And you can look at their faces, you want to see that they want to win this deal out of it. And that's where we get down to. I'm not big on speeches or anything. This is a kid game, and we need to keep that in mind and focus our attention all the way around that this is about these young ones, and we're just trying to build young kids even better to make them more successful in the next stages of their life out of it. This is just another little learning tool that we all process through out of it. The process is the key. I mean, the late nights, the early mornings, the cold mornings, the hot mornings, the working hair, keeping things right, keeping these things on feed, and then getting them broke to show and do the right things. That's what it's all about. The rides in the vehicle to and from shows and everything, lots and lots of positives that happen in this industry, and it's awful good to do it. I'm not going to talk a whole lot more about that. I want to just say, kids, if you wasn't happy with where you stood out of it, I tried to explain myself in a manner that I see how I saw them today out of it. And I think there were some close calls, and there were some places that you could flip a coin either direction and just be just fine with it. And it wouldn't hurt my feelings one bit. With that said, we're going to talk about the GOATs here. The young lady that wins the lightweight division. You talk about when that one's propped up right there, you talk about sheer elegance from the side. Symmetry from nose to tail, top line, all the things fit together. Her blade and her angles are right, her functionality and structure is extremely good, her body type and her lines all fit together. You get on the 3/4 view, and for her size and her maturity, she's got enough to her. She's not the boldest in terms of forerib, in terms of honest, true big dimension, in terms of her loin, but man, that one is practical. And that is fundamentally correct out here. That's got some good that you could breed her to a lot of different billy goats in the world and make a good one. The one that was second in that division has some wow factor to her. Her feet and her foot and her bone and feature is tremendous out of it. The way her neck ties into her is extremely good, right out of the top of her blade. That young lady gets every bit of good out of that one. Her top line reads straight and true in her, not as explosive in terms of real dimension, in terms of real roundness, in terms of her upper forerib. She's big in terms of her pins. We'd like to give her more honesty and more true base when we put her into motion, but a high quality one that wound up second in that division. The middle division, there was a lot of heat in all of those classes all the way through. There was 4, 5, 6 deep in some of them, and we landed on this one. This one here, fundamentally, you talk about one that is super long-bodied, long spine, loose in terms of her skeleton, and then you just look at her three-dimensional, and that one is pulled apart. Her cage has got a turn up high that is tremendous, and it just carries that sweep right to the base of her forerib. And you look at the 3/4 view and look underneath of her, explosiveness written all over. She is, bar none, the biggest in terms of her top line from her last rib back, in terms of real loin width, real loin depth, and then you turn around and put the length of hip that one has on and study her from the tip of her tail to the base of her stifle and to her hock. It all ties together, and it is big and wide right when you get at her pins, and then she carries it straight to the ground. The one we talked to her, everybody knows I'd like to see that one a shot taller at the point of her shoulder there to make her really, really, totally a unicorn amongst some good ones. The one that was second in that division has some of those characteristics in terms of her neck extension. She has some length of body to her. Her presence is extremely good. She's not as sound. She's not as functional in terms of her build through her blade, out of her hip, and off of her hock is the one that beat her. But her quality has to supersede, and we got to keep that up there. And I thought she was easily the second best after we get them back out here in my mind. Then we got to the heavy division, and that one is Bold. That one has got a big forearm laid in her. She has got a true big cage and dimensional look through her, all the way through from her nose to her tail. And then we look right down and put her in motion. Her lines and her body and her build for her size and her maturity all fit together there. She's got humongous rack shape in her and has plenty of dimension all the way through. It would be fun to see what that one makes later on too. And the one that's was second in the class, a little bit more elegant look, not as much goat there, not as much dimension in terms of forearm and true honesty of width of chest and base width when we go from behind, but a high quality one that wound up in 2. If you would, put your hands together. We're about done with this doe show this evening, and you've heard me talk enough out here. I commend all of you. It was an awesome day. I'm going to give one more look at them. I'm probably going to walk them one more time. I like to see them on the move, and that's where I place a lot of emphasis on in terms of how they are just built, in terms of how they can fluid and function all the way and when we put them into motion there. So that's what we're going to do. Congratulations to everybody that showed the doe here. Let's walk this front line one more time.
And ladies and gentlemen, while we have just a minute, let's give a big round of applause and thank Mr. Brian Kennedy from Hennessy, Oklahoma. He did an amazing job. Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for the way you've worked through these Wether does. Your 2026 Grand Champion Wether Doe goes to Aiden Rexwinkle. Aiden Rexwinkle is your Grand Champion. And your Reserve Grand Champion goes to Piper Unger. Piper Unger is your Reserve Grand Champion. Again, Brian, thank you very much. Appreciate all your work today. Thank you.